Let's go. I'm not even kidding. The match just flew under my bed, skidded underneath this sock that was under there, was still lit, just about gave me a heart attack. Maybe we'll skip the candle for today. Even though it's literally finally time to use my holiday scented candle. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, we're just gonna get cozy and we're gonna talk about some cozy queer books for the holidays. Winter is upon us, seasonal depression hitting hard. I don't want to go outside, or rather I do, but I can't because it's dark at 4 p.m. So I have some books to keep you guys busy and keep your minds active, my dears. I gotta take care of you. So these are my little queer cozy books. A lot of these, I will say, not all of them, a lot of them are MLM, like gay books, because that's just what I read, so that's what I know a lot of books about, but not all of them. And the last book that I want to talk about today was just like a wild find. I don't know how I got my hands on it, and I'm so lucky that I found it, and you have to read it. Like, everybody should read this book. Book number 1 is this lovely purple book. This is for my fantasy lovers who need their knight in shining armor, you know. It is Forging Silver into Stars. It's the first of a series. Tragically, the rest of the series is not out yet, but there are a few prequel series that I have not read, but I don't think they're gay, but I'm not sure. But this book was so good. It was so well written. It tells the story of a blacksmith. Oh my gosh, it still smells like the matchstick thing. Nothing's on fire, is it? Anyway, this book tells the story of a blacksmith and a courier for this royal castle in this place where there's magic, but magic is severely regulated, and there's internal conflict within the kingdom, so they gotta keep the peace as well as keep their personal relationships. Like, are they in love? What's gonna happen? So basically, the back says, when 19-year-old Tycho, the king's courier, arrives in the remote village of Briarlock, he hopes to escape the demands of his new life in the royal court. He doesn't expect to fall for the handsome blacksmith with a bruised heart. After years of cruelty in his father's forge, Jax, the blacksmith, never dared to dream of a better life until a magic-wielding young lord shows him an enticing alternative. I was honestly not expecting this book to be as good as it was, but it was one of those books that I could not put down. Like, I bought it when I was on vacation, and even though I was on vacation, I did not want to go out and see the sights. I wanted to sit and read this book. Also, it's purple. So fun, right? Forging Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. Book number 2 is for my cozy gays. On the cover, there's a review of this book that says it feels like a big gay hug. Really, the word that I would use to describe this book is just sweet. It's just very sweet. This is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. And I'm rereading it again because the sequel just came out and I really want to read it, but I needed to refresh my memory. This book, y'all, it is so wholesome, it is so artfully written, and it just proves that you can follow your dreams, you can achieve your goals at any age in life. This book is also kind of in the fantasy realm. It tells the story of Linus Baker, who's a caseworker in this government branch that regulates magical youth, and they basically like track them and log them in this world because they're a danger to society. And Linus is sent to this island to investigate this one orphanage of magical youth, and Linus is like in his 40s. He really honestly lives a depressing life. You kind of find out a lot about how dreary his life is in the first few chapters, but he gets to this island. There's the handsome like headmaster of the orphanage, and Linus is evaluating what happiness really means for him. This book made me cry. It's just so comforting. I will say it takes a bit of patience. My biggest complaint about this book was the world building. I didn't really understand what kind of universe we were living in. I couldn't tell if this was like the real world or some fictional land. And after reading it the first time, just so you guys know, I think it is the real world, but it's just kind of like magic is accepted as real in this universe because they reference like other countries and stuff. And I want to say it takes place in England. It never specifies that, but that's just the vibe that it's giving. It's also very quirky, so if you like quirky, usually I don't like quirky, and I really liked this book, so that's saying something. You should read this. This next book is also for the fantasy lovers. It's also a bit quirky. It takes place in this fantasy world that's been in an endless winter for the last 5 years, and the two main characters are kind of trying to break that curse while also figuring out what their lives mean for each other. This is Otherworldly by F.T. Lukens. One of the main characters, Ellery, is just a normal person in this world. They work at a diner. They're trying to just stay on their own 2 feet. The other main character, Knox, is a familiar. So he was called to this world by a witch. Basically, they meet each other and they think they can make a deal because Knox has knowledge of magic and Ellery needs somebody to stop this endless winter, and Knox needs somebody to tether him to the human world so that he doesn't have to go back to like the underworld, basically. This book is really sweet. If you've read any of F.T. Lukens' other stuff, it kind of gives similar vibes. I love F.T. Lukens' books. This book is more like YA than the other 2 books that we've gotten to so far, so if you're a younger reader, I definitely recommend this book as well. Very wholesome, very sweet. If you're into like shows like Dead Boy Detectives or media like that, I would recommend this book. This next book is so underrated. I saw this and I didn't really have high hopes for it. I think that the cover makes it look not as good as it's going to be. The cover makes it look like kind of like a stereotypical rom-com, and I didn't feel like it was that. This is We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. I loved this book. I didn't think I was going to. I kind of just bought it because I needed a new book, but this book had me hooked. The main thing that drew me to this book was just how sweet it was. Like the characters and the way that they take care of each other and their feelings for each other, like it tugged on the heartstrings, you know? It was just very sweet. It tells the story of Nick, who's a closeted journalist in New York in 1950, I believe. And Nick becomes friends with the new owner of the newspaper that he works for, Andy. Andy's father is getting old, and so he wants to like bring Andy into the business. And so Nick and Andy start a very unlikely friendship that really grows over the course of the book. I don't want to spoil too much, but I feel like it was very informative about queer culture in the 50s. And I think if you're a history person, like if you like historical fiction, you'd really like this book. I think it also taught me a lot about how queer people interacted and found each other in the past. This book I cannot recommend enough. And this is one of those books where you kind of just fall in love with the characters and their communities, and queer community is another main focus of this book. So I definitely recommend it. We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. Alright, we have 2 more books left. If you like this video so far, please let me know with a like or a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I have lots of other recommendation videos. A lot of them are gay. So check those out. And this next book is one you may have heard of. I tried not to be basic with these choices and pick like really popular books, but this book I think fits the tone of cozy, and so I thought I would share it with y'all. This is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. If you're a Heartstopper fan, you should read this. It talks about Tori, who's a teenager in England, as she kind of solves this mystery of this prankster called Solitaire, who's been basically terrorizing their school. It has lots of different representation, like ace representation as well. I thought that this book was really well written. This book is definitely like a seasonal depression book. I would say trigger warning for depressive thoughts and actions. The book is very melancholy and kind of heavy, but I think it was definitely worth the read. It's a really good book, very different tone than the Heartstopper books if you've read those. Definitely a lot more serious and almost even a different genre. This book kind of felt like a mystery. One of the things that I really liked about this book also is that it focused on the importance of platonic relationships as well as romantic ones. And Nick and Charlie make their little cameos, so if you're a Heartstopper person, check this baddie out. I really liked it. I think it's the perfect book to kind of curl up with in your cozy little chair with your blanket and your tea, because it just is giving those like cold, snowy vibes and the contrast of like finding comfort in yourself and the people around you. So, Solitaire. This last book. I feel so lucky that I found this book. I was on vacation, hundreds of miles from where I live, and we decided to stop in a Goodwill. And I feel like I'm pretty good at like picking out the gay books just from like their covers or their spines. And I saw the spine of this book and I was like, you are gay. And so I picked it up. This book is This Is How It Always Is by Lori Frankel. It's part of Reese's Book Club. This book made me cry so much. I don't want to say too much because I really don't want to spoil it, but I'm just going to read some of the reviews for you. This is a fascinating, gut-wrenching, timely, and enjoyable read, and a must for your next book club discussion. This is a beautiful novel about the unexpected curveballs of parent and sibling relationships and the limitless boundaries of family love. Every once in a while, I read a book that opens my eyes in a way that I never expected. So, you should really read this book. If you want to understand queer people better, you should read this book. If you're a parent, you should read this book. The first few lines on the back. This is Claude. He's 5 years old, the youngest of 5 brothers, and loves peanut butter sandwiches. He also loves wearing a dress and dreams of being a princess. This book, broke me down and made me cry, but it also made me really, really happy. I really liked how it focused on the perspective of a little kid that provided, a complete innocence and naivety to the world that was also very sweet and endearing. Throughout the book, you kind of grow up with Claude a little bit and learn more about who they're becoming, and also how Claude's parents face each of these situations and Claude's siblings. And it just explains so much of what it feels like growing up queer. No matter what kind of queer you are, I think that you will be able to find something that you can relate to in this book. Alright y'all, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments, or if you have any other recommendations. I am in desperate need of some book recs. So, drop them below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for visiting my little corner of the internet. I love to have you here. I will see you next week with a new video. I'm hoping to also get some singing videos and some music videos up soon. I have a little surprise planned for y'all, so stay tuned and make sure to subscribe. I will see you guys later. God bless. Thank you so much for watching. You gotta finish the heart. Do it.